It's safe to say Legacy United's first wave was an overnight success in my eyes, especially compared to the nothing burger that was Legacy Evolution's final wave. Though, if I'm gonna be honest, this is a feeling I felt with the line as a whole. Okay, that was a bit harsh, but to me, Evolution didn't feel as eventful as United in Legacy's first year. Not that the releases weren't interesting, I mean, who'd ever thought we'd get an official figure of a bloodthirsty serial killer? So why didn't it feel important to me? Was it because of poor distribution? My compulsion to save money as I was moving houses at the time? Or just because of waning interest? Well, I can tell you guys right now, yes, no, and unfortunately, yes. And also no, because at this point, Hasbro has me by the balls, and it's going to take a double S kills the JL type of disrespect in order to get me to leave. Thankfully, Hasbro's not dumb enough to let their main character die in a cheap way, so I think we're good on that front. Okay, enough cheap shots. Let's look back at Legacy Evolution. The second chapter in the Legacy trilogy, which continues to give us highly advanced articulated transformers, not only from Generation 1, but also the franchise beyond. This line also started to slow down the G1 aesthetic when it came to characters that didn't originate from it. I was personally never bothered by Bulkhead's new look, but to people who were, this was refreshing to hear. In fact, between the last line SS-86 and War for Cybertron, Generation 1 representation is starting to slow down a lot, and there's not that many characters that need new toys. So I figured while I was still moving, I'll just get the ones I want and ignore the ones I don't. Now don't get me wrong, I did buy a lot. If I didn't, this video would probably be a series of shorts. In fact, just like last time, let's talk about the stuff I didn't buy because of my lack of enthusiasm. First off, the package refreshes, because I already own them. There was one exception, but he won't count for this video. Same could be said for the repaints because the Tachatron collection is a downgrade from Speedia 500. Thankfully, there was no exclusive figure that could have easily been put in the main line this time, but let's be fair, the only reason we were ever going to buy these was because of the novelty of buying unreleased colors for sometimes unreleased toys from the 80s. If you guys do want to give this line a chance, then they're currently sitting at Walmart. However, I can only recommend the line's namesake Tachatron, Cloud Cover, Dead End and his Lightning McQueen looking ass, and maybe Mirage. Everybody else has better options. As for exclusive repaints not in this line, yeah, admittedly none of them caught my eye, though I regret not buying Nobra Prime on sale because Devastation was dealt a bad hand. And the bootleg Thundercracker in the Troop Builder set has a better blue than the official Thundercracker. And maybe Origins Jazz, but that's mostly due to the fact that I could never find him. Okay, fine, I did buy one repaint, that being Crosscut because Silver Hatchback's sexy. Okay, now for the stuff I didn't buy in mainline, and Hasbro, stop trying to make Volcanicus a thing. The Dinobots should never combine. Mostly because all your attempts were superglued garbage, and this thing is no exception. Replacing Robomaster's Leo Prime would have definitely been an option if the Lionhead didn't exist. And no, giving him a black repaint wouldn't even change my mind. Okay, in one hand, I should throw out some slack because bad distribution definitely killed Wave 3 and 4. However, at the same time, I can describe most of these guys as gross, super gross, why aren't you Hound, big regret, and Skyquake even if he was announced for Wave 2. However, when it comes to him, I no longer need to buy him because his brother has exposed the fact that this mold is garbage. It's not as bad as Kingdom Tracks in 86 Cup, but god damn it, I wanted to love this figure so much. He fantastically blends his G1 and Prime aesthetics to create this badass looking bot while also having the deadliest jet bomber I've ever seen. The fatal flaw with both of these modes are switching between them because the conversion is clashy AF. His underhand chain gun is fine, but his sword, something the Prime version is famous for, is a rinky-dink piece of crap that looks good in no position. While on the subject, posability feels as gimped as it looks because the arms are too short and his shoulder pads aren't helping to mitigate that fact, and most damning of all, when you get the sensitive to sound autism and not the be good at math or science autism. Why didn't they just use normal ratchets? Why? At some point, I think I broke the one on the left arm, which thank God I did, because somehow the right arm is still kicking, and yes, I'm trying to annoy you into seeing my point of view. I'm definitely going to do the soap trick on this thing, but even if it doesn't work, it's still a damn shame when you think you're going to buy a figure that you think you'll fall in love with, only to have it spit in your face with multiple problems. Especially one of this caliber. For those who can enjoy this figure even with those issues, I envy you. As for me, this thing is going into stores as soon as the editing process is done. Whew. Well, anyway, that was the stuff I decided not to purchase. Maybe I'll pick up some in the future, but personally I'm in no rush to. So with those out of the way, let's talk about the stuff I did buy in order from worst to best. Starting with Dreadwing, who's a blue piece of shit. Hotshot in comparison is way better, but has two major flaws which stops me from recommending him. Now don't worry, it's not a ratchet joint problem, this figure's too small for that. No, the real problem is the kibble, the windshield in this case, officially goes on the backs of the legs but butchers their articulation something fierce. Not that they plug in very well anyway, leaving the knee bends looking like this. Other than this, posing's adequate enough. His gun is intended to be this short and could have easily been designed to be a single port. He's got headphones that can become a wicked visor, and the back wheels can become a big FU cannon. Now back on the original toy, this was activated via Minicon, but to save on budget, there is no Minicon. Thank God. Not sure if the original helicopter guy would fit on here, but if you want the new helicopter guy, you'll have to buy him in a repaint set that gives Hotshot better blasters than whatever this rinky-dink thing is. While I absolutely love the back cannon, it hinders the car mode's ability to roll. You know, the thing you desperately want to do with a toy car. At that point, just buy a cake of a car. And on that note, the conversion is a little finicky, but nothing you can't complete on the first go when you remember the arms need to look like this so you can close the doors. Don't push the gun all the way in, and once you're done with that, marvel at this goofy looking but charming sports car that, once again, can't roll to save its life. In fact, those last two words are a perfect summary of this guy. Fumbles the ball in several innings while at the same time doing his best to stay in my good graces. While he doesn't succeed thanks to his back wheels, he's not failing because of them either. Tarn and Bludgeon likewise have two things hampering them both. Not as annoying as Hotshot, but more annoying depending on the type of person you are. While they can perform dynamic poses, certain ones look a bit off, and it could have looked better if the arm joints were placed here and not here, but hey, I'm not bothered by it. Though the next hamper I'm definitely bothered by. I mean, did the chest really have to fold out like this while simultaneously rotating the arms? And after this confusing thing and exposed hands, we're led to this double-barreled cyber tank. And if you're a creative type, Bludgeon should look like this. Depending on who you ask, a secret third hamper would be the fact that these boys are flat AF, though I argue and say this is because they're from the comic universe. Insert sarcastic laugh here. But to be fair, all these flaws are just minor nitpicks, because these are some entertaining figures that are more simplified than the comic art, but still accurate in a way. Their accessories make them feel more expensive than they are, especially Bludgeon's katana. Holy moly, Bludgeon's katana. And with this supreme paint job, Tarn is absolutely menacing, especially with his dead eyes. Bludgeon too, but my copy has this messy paint splosh where his head vents are. The OCD ghost isn't pleased. However, he's not paying for these, meaning I'm pleased, and depending on your mood, you will be too. Just don't expect Purple Guy's friends to get official toys anytime soon, because they're way worse than him. Metalhawk is a downgraded Cyclonus who poses a little worse, is equipped with guns so loose they might as well be decoration, and a jet mode that isn't as bad as I remembered, but it still kind of screams, "Look, Mom, I'm an airplane!" However, there is a special reason why he's this high on the list compared to everyone else so far. While his conversion is a bootleg of a great mold, is one of those high quality bootlegs, and the robot mode captures his animation model perfectly along with his tokusatsu inspired sword. If you decide to skip him, you're not missing out, but I'll tell you now, there's a worse way to spend $38. Fortunately, our next subject isn't the case because Trashmaster is a better bulkhead than Bulkhead himself. Hey, wait a minute. Actually, you know what? Let's talk about all the Junkions at once because they're quite similar in the fact that they bring back a gimmick the first year of Legacy abandoned. Probably because of Menasor, but I'm getting ahead of myself again. That being the Weaponizers. Transformers that can disassemble and be used as weapons and armor for other figures. The Junkions don't do the best job at becoming weapons and armor, but vehicle abominations? Oh yeah. These guys are really special, not only because they're original characters that fit in with the 86 Junkions very well, but unlike the weaponizers of the WFC, they can transform without needing to take them apart. I struggle to not call this false advertising, but at the same time, well, I can never convert Scraphook without taking his arms off. Crashbar always confused me, and Trashmaster is the best out of the three. With vehicle weapon integration, nobody can combat. So if I have to recommend one of these, definitely get him. Not saying this to undermine Scraphook and Crashbar, it's just that Trashmaster's quality outweighs them both. But whichever one you get, I guarantee you won't be disappointed. Okay, up to the top 3, meaning any complaint I have is a nitpick. Animated Prowl as a reinterpretation is so great, people who aren't invested in the rest of the franchise other than G1 think he looks cool. He comes with wheel covers that can become ninja stars, which can only be held in his right hand and only his right hand. It's possible to get it into the left one, but honestly, the only way it's gonna stay in there is via spit, duct tape, and hope. Also having ninja-like posability and a can-do transformation. The hands and front foot will give you a hard time at first, but when you get that situated, it's marveling time once again. The kickstand could be sturdier. Yeah, no, that's all I got. This thing is awesome, just like our next figure. The original Armada Megatron was a gimmicky nightmare done right. It had a fully rotating turret inside of a fully rotating turret, missiles, pincers, and a prison shank. The only thing missing was a bit of articulation in the legs. However, the designers at the time definitely took a priority to the gimmicks, because this was released during a time when Fortnite didn't exist, so you better have some extra features, otherwise people were going to riot. Don't worry, it's not just game companies that need to get back into this mindset, because
what the f is this piece of sh**?
Okay, before I go off on a rant, his newer figure mitigates most of these gimmicks, but adds a ton of articulation points. Okay, admittedly, I think the shoulder paddle should move 360, and depending on the type of person you are, the transformation is a bit simplistic. But honestly, who cares when the other option is a floppy piece of crap with a sticky arm? In fact, my opinion on this figure was said last week. It's the only good leader figure, and it should be proud of its achievement. Definitely pick him up if you see him in the wild, because they are everywhere. But what if you only had half of $50 and you were forced to buy a deluxe? Well then, we look no further than an unlikely source. Needlenose was one of those late G1 characters fans thought would never get a new toy unless it was a Prime Wars Jet repaint. It was a shock when Hasbro released a fan poll around Siege for fans to choose one of 3 figure battle packs. He and Trax would lose to Mirage vs. Impactor, with them getting exclusive figures in said pack, while also getting retail figures early. The losers would eventually get figures too, except for poor Needlenose, because he would be thrown into another fan poll to see who would become the special bot that would sneak onto the Ark in time for Earthrise. He would lose to Runabout because Runamuck was in mainline, and we couldn't have one without the other, you see. So for a while, his fate was sealed until last year when he was announced for the first wave of Evolution. Blah blah blah, now he's one of my favorite figures of all time. As for his Versus Pack buddy... Wait a minute. This is the actual good figure. Oh yeah, that's right, I put that one in the vault. Ooh! Alright, you two jackasses, it's time for y'all to be stand-ins again. Wait. What do you mean they're also in the vault? Okay, fine, y'all caught me, I didn't think this part through. Oh wait, yes I did. There's only one caveat.
Huh?
Not with the figure itself, but with his companions Sunbeam and Zigzag. They don't pose. At all. I'll agree with this notion because of how small they are, except no the I won't, because Titan Masters are a third of their size, and the arms at least were able to get the job done thanks to these ball sockets. So what the hell were your excuses? What's that? They have nothing to say because they're inanimate objects? No, it's because they're not real characters in my eyes, therefore they're human-sized action figures Needlenose modified into weapons so he has someone to talk to when Thunderwing and Spinister aren't giving him the attention he wants. Okay, so now with that done and over with, ladies and gentlemen, the most posable figure in my collection. This sadly results in the entire Jetmo being plastered on his back, meaning the transformation is painfully simple, specifically maneuvered arms notwithstanding. But, well,
who cares?
The glory that is this guy's articulation cannot be topped, not even by a non-transforming figure. Not to mention his Wicked Knight of the Sky design and his oh so glorious color palette. Oh, the display potential with this guy. I don't need to explain more, you're looking at it! If you take something away from this video, no matter the situation, please buy Needlenose for retail price, clearance price, from your friend, your aunt, your parents, your pretend parents. Definitely don't buy him for $80 though. I love this thing to death and it's coming from Japan, but one, there are better auctions of this guy on eBay, and two, there are way more important things to spend this amount of money on. I don't give 2/3 of a damn how you get him, just get him. It's funny how the character that was screwed over twice was the one to come out on top at the end. So overall, I come out of Legacy Evolution the same way I entered, with a little more perspective. Not every figure was a slam dunk, however, the ones that did stuck out as some of my favorite figures in the past 4 years. While I still believe Titan's Return is the better second installment in its respective trilogy, I can no longer say I have a dismissive attitude towards this line despite the bumps in the road, or the sky in this one's case. If you own any of the figures I don't, then please, let's start a conversation in the comments and you can enlighten me on your experiences with them. And for anyone new, if this video pleased you and want more like it, then feel free to like and subscribe for more of my honest-to-God opinions. Thank you all for watching, and until we meet again, may whatever time or place treat you well. Yep, I just made a whole video without mentioning Evo Fusion once, because it's not a real gimmick, it's just 5mm port manipulation fans have been doing for years. In fact, the weaponizers and the energon weapons of the last line are good examples of these. Sorry to be a buzzkill, but I had to be the unfortunate soul who had to bum rush this entire video on daylight savings time.